Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Pancho Show. I am Pancho, your host, the greatest salesman in the world, self-proclaimed. I wanted to talk to you about something that's really, really important if you're thinking about getting into business for yourself, whether it's real estate, whether it's being an insurance agent, broker, whether it's buying a retail store or purchasing a franchise of some sort. It's really critical that you understand this particular concept. I had this conversation with my wife. As you guys know, we recently purchased a restaurant, Las Pinches Tortas. Super, super happy about it. We're very stoked. It's a really cool little business. It's been open now for 2 weeks, and we have people coming back already, and we have 5-star reviews. So it's been super cool, right? However, when we decided to make this purchase and get into the restaurant, honestly, I was in a position that I'm fairly comfortable. My real estate business is taking off very well, doing pretty well. Had a lot of projects, including the launching of The Greatest Journal, which I've talked about in the past in other videos. And I had brought on board Clark, our video guy, so that we can take everything in our real estate business to a whole other level. So honestly, when it was offered to me, I said, you know what? I'm not sure. I mean, I went to go see it, and I'm looking at the location, and man, I'm like super excited about it, right? Because I know it's a good business, and I know we can make it into something really, really cool. And I'm looking at all the infrastructure of it, and I'm thinking, man, this has so much potential. I want it, right? This is exciting. Yes, let's make it happen. But then I'm starting to think, okay, shit, how much is it going to take? If you've ever mentioned to anybody in your circle that you're thinking about opening up or starting a restaurant, I guarantee you somebody has told you, oh, dude, the restaurant industry is brutal. Oh, no, don't get into the restaurant business. It's really, really rough, you know? So, and they're right. The restaurant industry is very, very demanding whenever you don't have the right systems in place. So having the conversation with my wife, discussing whether or not to make this purchase and take the leap of faith and open up a new restaurant, considering we know what we're getting ourselves into and considering that we know that it's a tough industry, I said something that I think it's very important to share with all of you. I told my wife, here's the thing that we have to be very, very clear on. If we decide to make this particular leap and purchase said restaurant, I want to make sure that we are both on the same page and that both you and I understand that we are buying a business. We're not buying a job. There's a huge difference, and it's really important for anybody that's self-employed or is going into business for themselves to understand this particular concept. The previous owners to the owner who I purchased it from, so the person that I bought it from had it for about 1.5 years. The previous people had it for about 20 some years. Husband and wife, she was in the front being a cashier and server, and he was in the back cooking. And they did this for 20 some years. I don't know the facts of it. I haven't had a chance to talk to them personally, but from my understanding, they never took a day off. They were always working. They owned a job. It was themselves. It was their own place. They had to focus. They had to pay the rent. They had to worry about the inventory. They had to worry about suppliers. They had to worry about the utilities. They had to worry about everything. Yet they were the people manning it, and they were the people behind also running the whole thing. That is brutal, and I do not recommend anybody getting into any business that they can't figure out a way to turn it into an actual business. An actual business is a place like Starbucks, is a place like In-N-Out, all these huge corporations, because I guarantee you that the president of Starbucks, the guy that started the very first one, yes, on the first location, he was there. He did everything. He probably wiped down tables, and he probably mopped floors. He probably cleaned bathrooms, and eventually it got to the point that I guarantee you that he hasn't touched many of the thousands of locations that they have across the world, right? That is when you turn a job into a business, when you're actually able to leverage the use of other people and a bunch of other resources to be able to have the right people in place, the right systems in place, so that you, as the head honcho, as the owner of the place, doesn't have to be in there. So I think it's very important for you to understand that, yes, in the beginning, maybe the first couple years, but you have to set yourself a timeline. You have to set a limit, or else you're going to be stuck in that position forever. By setting a limit, you're going to ask yourself the right questions to get you to the place that you don't have to worry about it, if that makes sense. So basically, you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm willing to put in the hard work. I'm willing to put in the effort. I'm willing to be there, wiping tables if necessary, and cleaning the bathroom if necessary, and getting in the kitchen if necessary, until this place gets up and running. But I'm going to give myself 6 months to do so, a year to do so, a year and a half. After that point, if I haven't gotten to that, maybe I'm not business savvy enough, and maybe I don't deserve to own this particular business, and I don't have the right systems in place. So one of two things: either I tweak it and I learn it, or I dispose of it and I sell it and I walk away, because it will forever own you instead of you owning it. If you don't run and operate your business as a business, you don't own a business. You own a job. And it's really important to really make that distinction in anything that you do. I gave you the example of the restaurant. It's a very clear example, very concise, but I see it in real estate as well. It drove me bonkers. It drove me nuts whenever I would be walking by the office and one of the salespeople, one of the agents that we're sharing an office with, or they're wandering around or in the office meetings, they would go to the office manager or to the broker of record or to the owner of the company, and they would call them boss. Like, hey, boss, how are you? It's like, dude, they're not your boss. Yes, they're nice. Yes, they're really cool. Yes, they're a resource for you to help you succeed in your business, but they're not your boss. You are self-employed. But if you don't understand how to tweak that mindset, you will forever be that salesperson that owns a job. You're 1099, you have to worry about your taxes, you have to worry about your marketing, you have to worry about marketing costs, you have to worry about hiring an assistant, and it's all coming out of pocket, and you have to worry about things like that, yet you're calling somebody else boss. They're not your boss. You're paying them. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of people that don't understand how the real estate industry works, but I know that a lot of my audience is in real estate, so I hope you understand this. When your real estate career actually turns into a real estate business is the day that you're able to create systems and hire the right people for you to disengage from the mundane day-to-day activities that create the business. There's a lot of real estate agents that are super successful, making $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, but they're on the phone, prospecting, working hard. No fault to that. I mean, if that's what you want to do, shit, by all means, go for it. But my assistants and everybody that I know that I work with know this about me because I've been very clear and I've shared my goals with them. My goal is not to be prospecting on the phone for 20 years, 30 years of my life and being subject to having to work every weekend doing open houses to be able to earn a living. Not at all. My goal is to build a team that is so strong at a bunch of different types of money-making activities and lead generation and lead follow-up that between all of us, we create this enormous machine that generates a bunch of sales and a lot of business and everything so that we can all have our days off and our time off with our family and enjoy the fruits of our labor. What good is it to, quote unquote, own a job or own a business supposedly if you're a slave to it, if you're owned by it? Why would you even put yourself through that? Might as well just get a 9-to-5 with benefits where you don't have to worry about payroll, where you don't have to worry about covering rent, where you don't have to worry about the utilities, where you don't have to worry about any of it. Just focus on doing your job from 9 to 5, go home, disconnect, enjoy the family, enjoy your time, and maybe go do some other hobby or maybe start something else. But really understand, if you're thinking about getting into any sort of industry, make sure that that industry and that particular business that you're trying to get into, you can manage and run as a business, not as a job. If that business requires you to be there 40 hours a week, you're owning a job, not a business. Keep that in mind whenever it is that you're thinking. Now, once you do decide that you want to do something, pursue it. Do whatever it takes to get into that industry and do whatever it takes to get into business. There's so many resources out there to be able to get into business. Put the time and effort, sacrifices, blood, sweat, and tears. My wife and I, we've done it. I've prospected for 40 hours a week. I've done it for 8 hours a day on the phone trying to generate business for my real estate business. We've door knocked. We've gone handing out flyers to start up our restaurant. My wife has slept, literally taken naps on the stainless steel work tables at the restaurant because she was so exhausted from working countless hours at the restaurant because we couldn't afford to pay a salary for somebody else. There will be sacrifices made. I'm not saying, oh, from day one, you're going to be free as a bird and everything. No, not at all. Make sure that I'm clear about this. In the beginning, you may have, unless you have unlimited resources in terms of money, then yeah, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff and learn as you go, and it'll cost you a fortune, but you'll get there. Or you can be very, very smart at leveraging your own time and things like that and creating the systems, but always asking yourself, what do I need to do to not have to do this myself? What do I need to do to disengage from this and have somebody in my place that does it right? And in order to do so, don't be a cheapskate. Don't be cheap. Hire people that are better than you at certain things and pay them good money so that they can have a good life and they can live and they'll be happy and they'll treat your business as their own as well. All right. So there's a couple things there that you want to make sure to have into consideration. For example, in the restaurant business, I can't cook. I suck in the kitchen. I'm a badass barbecuer though. If you've seen my videos, man, you know my steaks come out good. But when it comes to being in an actual kitchen and maybe following a recipe or certain things that are very condimented or with a lot of different spices and stuff, I mess things up. So I don't touch it. However, I have fantastic cooks working in the restaurant that make amazing food. Our vision comes into fruition with them and everything works out. But you got to make sure that they're paid well and that they have enough money to live and survive properly, right? Or else they're going to leave. They're not going to be happy there. You want people that are going to be happy and work for you and work with you in the long term. So again, just to summarize real quick, make sure that if you're getting into business, you understand the concept of owning a business and not a job. At the beginning, you may have to make certain sacrifices. You may have to push really hard. You may have to put in all the labor yourself in a lot of times, but always continue to ask yourself, what do I need to do to be able to turn this into a business so that I own it and it doesn't own me? Alrighty? So if you think this is valuable, if you know anybody out there that's talking about starting up a business, make sure to send them this video so that they can also understand what we're talking about, okay? So, and if you liked it, please make sure to comment, like, share. I'd love to get some of your feedback. Just as I was telling a customer the other day at the Las Pinchas Tortas, I love feedback, both good and bad. If we screw it up, if it's too salty, let me know. If it's too crunchy and it hurts your palate, let me know. Whatever the case may be, I need to understand these things so that we can improve. So if you have any comments, both negative or positive, I'd love to hear from you. Please go ahead and comment, like, and share. If you haven't done so already, go to whatever button it is, either it's on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, and make sure to hit the subscribe button so that we can be better engaged and you can know right away whenever we release a new episode. Okay, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.